Hey everybody, it's Emily at ARG Schooling, and today I'm going to bring you sort of a delayed monthly favorites. I haven't done one of these for a little while. I just have not been able to make some time to film. I want to film more, but I thought it would be fun to start out with the monthly favorites and talk about some of my favorite things from the last month. So this is going to be a March monthly favorites mostly, but I'll probably bring some things in from February just because I never did the February one. Anyhow, it'll be mostly March. The first thing I thought I would talk about is makeup. So I have three things that I thought I'd like to share this month that are just things that I've been using that I really like. So the first one is the NYX, I don't know if you can see this, right there. It's lip primer. It's just a pencil and it almost looks like concealer, if you can see that. But it's a lip primer, and you just put this on before your lipstick, and I swear it makes your lipstick stay on all day. And I already use a lipstick that tends to last a long time anyway, but it isn't like a kiss-proof completely, so it does come off when you're eating. But with this, it does not come off when you're eating, so that's pretty awesome. So I really have been enjoying that. I also finally decided to get myself a fancy mascara. I have been having the hardest time with mascara for like the last 5 years. I just cannot find one that I like, and I usually buy the cheaper drugstore varieties, and I just was sick to death of clumpy mascara or mascara that didn't really go on well or that rubbed off easily. It was a problem. It's a problem I was having. So I finally went to Ulta and bought some fancy ones. So this is Too Faced Better Than Sex Waterproof Mascara. And I really like it. It goes on really well, and I don't know if you can see the brush. I'm trying to show you people like I'm a fancy makeup person or something. I don't know what I'm doing. And it goes on really well. It lasts forever, and it looks good. I'm wearing it now. I don't know if you can kind of see. If I get really close, I don't know. But the only problem I have with this is that it works a little too well. It's waterproof, and they're not kidding. This does not come off. I had the hardest time finding a makeup remover that will actually remove the waterproof mascara completely. And the one I'm using now is the closest I've gotten to getting it all off, but it's still there, and it doesn't want to come off. So it works. It will be waterproof. You'll just never ever get it off, and you're gonna have like mascara for years. So the last thing I want to talk about, because I just bought it, I bought more because I was almost out, although it lasts forever. I've been using the same one for like 6 months now, and I'm like, any day now it's going to be run out, but it hasn't yet. And that's the NYX Epic Ink Liner, and I really love this. It is the only liquid eyeliner that I seem to be able to manage. I've always been a little bit afraid of liquid liner because the first time I ever tried it I was like 14, and it was my mom's, and it was those like, it looked like a paintbrush, and I put it on and I ended up with like raccoon eyes, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. And so I decided that it was too hard and I'm not going to do that. But then I found this, and I love this liner because it is basically like a felt tip marker. And that I can handle. It goes on really easy, it looks good, it doesn't rub off, it doesn't fade. I don't think it's technically waterproof because it does wash off really. It is, it says waterproof on here. So it doesn't rub off at all, but it does wash off really easily, so it's not impossible to remove like the mascara. But I love this stuff, and I'm pretty dedicated now. This is the second one I've purchased, and yeah, and they do last a really long time. I'm going to go ahead and talk about TV. I feel like we haven't really watched anything lately. We've been in a bit of a TV rut trying to find things to watch that we both enjoy. Ugh, it's hard. But pretty much there's only 2 shows I really want to talk about. The first one is called Everything Sucks. It's on Netflix. There's only 1 season, and it's adorable. This show caught my eye because it said, we were scrolling Netflix, and I saw it said something about 90s, and I was like, let me see what that is. And basically, it's the cutest show in the world. It's a teen high school drama kind of show, but it's based in the 1990s, and the music is just everything. It makes me so happy. The soundtrack to the show is basically my high school years, and it's very, very nostalgic. And yeah, I think it takes place in like 1996, and it does, like, everything about it is very 90s, from going to the movie rental places, and the clothes, and the music, and the way they talk. I mean, a kid said fat, and I got so excited. I loved it. It's adorable. The basic premise is there's a girl who's realizing that she's a lesbian, but she doesn't know what to do with that information, and then there's this boy that really likes her, and he falls in love with her, and she's dating him and trying to show everyone that she's not weird, but then she can't, and it's just, there's the theater kids, they're making a movie. It's just, oh, it's wonderful. I'm not even describing it well enough to explain the plot, but you just trust me, go watch it. Especially if you went to high school or were growing up in the 90s, you have to watch it. It's fantastic. The other TV show, of course, is The Walking Dead. What else would I be talking about? We are one episode out from the finale at this point, so I'm just going to talk about everything thus far. So yeah, I'm still watching The Walking Dead. I know a lot of people hate on it, and I just can't. I enjoy it. I love the comics, and I'm a dedicated fan of the comics. So I will continue to watch the show until it's over because I can't stop now. Let's talk about Carl. I don't know what to do anymore. Thus far, I know they deviate quite a bit sometimes from the comics, and that's fine. I don't mind that at all in a TV show. But when they change something so integral to the plot, I do feel a little bit of panic, because what are we going to do now without Carl? In my mind, the comics have always been more about Carl than anything else. Like, him growing up and living in, becoming a man in this world, and if we don't have that, like, what is it about anymore? Are we really, is this about Rick now more than Carl? I don't know. That just, like, messed with my head a little bit. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around where we're going after this, because the war is over in another episode, and then what? I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go from there. I don't know if we're going to get the same storyline that happens next on the show, because in my mind now they've kind of wrecked it by making out the whole time jump into a fantasy in Carl's mind, and all of the stuff that happened isn't real. I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to stick with a comic version of what happens at the end of the war. Part of me feels like they need to, because if they're going to deviate so much with Carl, they have to keep something, and that seems like the most logical thing to continue. I want to talk about two characters. I want to talk about Eugene, and I want to talk about Dwight. Eugene's character right now is like breaking my heart a little bit, because I feel like they almost have to kill him now, and I love Eugene so much, and I don't want him to die. His character is just so real. Like, I feel like that is exactly what a real human would behave like. Yes, he's being a traitor, but isn't it about survival at this point? And isn't he doing what he has to do to survive? Like, everything he's done has led to him not dying. And I feel like that's exactly what a person would do in this scenario. So I don't hate Eugene for making the decisions that he's made. I feel like he had to make those decisions and those choices. So I don't have any grudge against him, but obviously his people do. And I feel like they might kill him, and I hope to goodness that they don't, because I love him. Also, let's talk about Dwight, because comic book Dwight doesn't get this big of an arc. Like, obviously the stuff that he does happens in some format in the comics. He does kind of turn on Negan and go help the Alexandrians and Rick and everybody to help defeat Negan and all of that. That does happen. But man, he's getting such an arc, and I don't know how that's gonna go. If they're going to keep him or if he's going to die. I kind of don't know what could be worse than what they did to Simon, which again, I know this is in April and I'll probably want to talk about it again when I do my next monthly favorites, but I loved the whole Simon thing that they did last night when I was watching. It was fantastic. I love how they built this character and they made him sort of, you know, he's devious and evil and he does really bad things, and so does Negan, but Negan's doing it for a reason and people are a resource and all of that stuff, so he kind of justifies what he does. Simon doesn't justify what he does. Simon just does things and he hates everybody, I think. And he just wants to be in charge and like rule over everyone, but he's not capable of that. But yeah, this whole season has just been really good so far. I'm not too upset with anything they've done besides Carl dying. I feel like they're really making up for the craptastic last season, because ooh, that was rough. Just the whole like beating down Rick and all of that just was not fun to watch. I didn't like any of that. So I'm happy to see that we're coming out of it and we're growing and we're going somewhere. I don't know where though. And I feel like I've just talked about it for a really long time, so let's move on. I have other things to talk about. Let's talk about books, which is hard because a lot of the stuff I've been reading I can't talk about because it's for book boxes and it's killing me a little bit inside to not be able to talk about books. Like the last book I finished, it's just like, I need to talk about it, but I can't talk about it. I can't even write a review or anything and it hurts. It's hard. I'm having a hard time with that. But I will get to talk about it eventually because I'm going to have to tell you when I do my unboxing. So stay tuned. The next box of books is going to be epic. It's got some really good stuff in it. But the books I can talk about, I did read a trilogy this past month that it was really good. And that is the Binti series by, and I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Nnedi Okorafor. I hope I said it right. I don't have the books to show you. They were ebooks and my Kindle's upstairs and I don't feel like going to get it. I read the trilogy. The first one is Binti, the second one is Binti Home, and the third one is The Night Masquerade. And I'm just going to talk about them as a whole because in my brain they're kind of all blended together now and I don't know how to separate them because I read them back to back, so they feel like just one long story. These are, I want to say they're more like novellas. The first book especially was only like 70 pages or something, and the other two were under 200 pages. So while they were a trilogy, I think they read more like one book because the story just flows really well. There's not really a whole lot of catching up to do when you jump into the next book. It just goes straight on. So basically this is a trilogy. It's fantasy, but it's also, I think it's more sci-fi than fantasy. It's about this girl named Binti who lives on Earth, and she's an African, and she lives in this tribe and they never leave. They are tied to their homeland, like permanently. They never leave their home. And so she's the first one to get to leave. She chooses to leave and to go to this college, Umza University, in another galaxy. And so she has to go there and she just leaves. She leaves her family and she goes to this university, and on the way there they get attacked by this group of aliens and they kill everyone aboard the ship except for Binti, and she has to somehow bring peace. She's a harmonizer, and that means that she can talk to other species and other people and kind of bring peace. And so she becomes this sort of higher being and not quite human but not quite anything else, and she's sort of this weird, and she changes throughout the books and becomes more and more different from her people, and she has a really hard time with that struggle of who am I anymore. And I thought this series was just really interesting. It was a little bit slow. It was a little slower than I anticipated, especially for such short books. I thought they would read much faster. It was a little bit slow and kind of, I don't want to say boring, but it was kind of a sedate adventure story. It wasn't like constant action going, even though there was a lot happening, and which is really weird for a story with so much stuff going on. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but it did feel very kind of calm, and I really enjoyed how diverse it was. I mean, the main character is African, and there's a species where they're not male or female, and there's just so many different species and types of people in the story. It was very, very interesting and very well done. I will definitely read more by this author. I already have Akata Witch, which my daughter already read, so I need to get to that. But yeah, and I have another book she wrote, and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I plan on reading that too. So yeah, I do recommend it. I gave it a 3.5, 4 star. The last thing I want to talk about was March 31st was my birthday, so I got some birthday presents, and I thought I'd share with you guys because I was pretty excited about them. So the first one is the one that I was the most excited about because it's the one that I've been anticipating getting for forever. Like for the last 2 months I've been like, I need to get this. And I did. This is the Jeff Goldblum exclusive pop. It's his character Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park in that pose. I love this so much. I am a huge Jeff Goldblum fan. I love his character and just about everything. He's awesome. And when I saw they came out with this, I told my husband, like, I absolutely have to have this pop. I mean, he's freaking adorable. And he's mine. We're gonna be going to the Boston Comic-Con again this summer because when I saw that he's gonna be there, I was like, there's no way I'm missing that. I refuse. I will not miss out on a chance to, like, meet Jeff Goldblum. I'm so excited. I also got a movie that I have yet to see. Yeah, I think I'm the last human on Earth to not see the latest Star Wars movie yet. I was sick when we were gonna go see it when it first came out, and we decided to wait till my dad was in town, and that's when I got sick and ended up in the hospital. And we just never had a chance to go again after that. And then it wasn't in the theater anymore. And I was like, well, I guess we'll have to wait. And then I got this at my birthday, and we've been too busy to watch this yet. And plus, I feel like I need to go back and watch The Force Awakens because it's been a year and I don't remember everything as well as I hoped I would. So we're gonna need to do like a Star Wars marathon. That's gonna happen soon. Finally, the last thing I got for my birthday that I am so excited about because I didn't even know that this existed until I opened it and saw it. I was like, this is a thing? This is the Joe Hill graphic novel collection. I knew about The Wraith because I loved Nosferatu that Joe Hill wrote, and Wraith is a comic sort of spin-off of that. So I've been anticipating getting my hands on that, but I didn't know that he did this many different graphic novels. I'm learning new things all the time. So yeah, now I feel like way behind because I thought, oh, I'm finally catching up to being able to say that I've read all of Joe Hill's work, and no, I haven't. I have this to read, I have 20th Century Ghost to read, I have to finish Strange Weather, and then I can actually say I've read all of his books until he comes out with a new one. So those are my February and March favorites. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do you have any favorites from the last month that you want to share? Let's talk about it down below in the comments. I hope if you like this video that you will subscribe. That would be awesome. Then you can see more of my stuff. I talk about all sorts of things, from books to homeschooling to makeup, apparently. And yeah, it would be great to see you around more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye!